Phil, and good afternoon to all our viewers at home. Well, once again, Port Melbourne in a crucial game. Coach Gary Bryce, you've got to win this one to stay in second position and, in fact, stay in the 4.
That's right, Rob. We're 6 points clear in the 4, but we want to stay second if we can. So it's a very important game for us, and Preston obviously played well last week.
Right, well now, just looking at the statistics, Ian Gibbs has already pointed out that Port's history at Preston is poor. 2 out of the last 12 you've won.
Oh, I don't think that really comes into it. I think it depends on the day. I don't believe in home ground hoodoos or anything like that. If the players are mentally prepared on that particular day, it makes no difference.
I notice on the table behind us is Stephen Allender. Now, Stephen, you know, has had a terrific season, but he didn't play well last week. I just found out he was injured.
Well, he was ill for a couple of weeks before that. Actually, had a bad game in the interstate game, but he shouldn't really have played. He's had a virus for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. Well, now, what about today? Because you really want him on top today, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, we want everyone ready, rearing to go today. We've got Stevens fully fit, so is Stretch, and all the other players who I'll read in the press are always under cloud with injury, but we've got all our players fit today.
Gary, how much do you consider this a danger game? Because Preston did knock off Geelong West last week by 7 goals.
Well, I've said to the players during the week, it is our most important game for this year. They are ready to knock us off. We played well against them at home, and I know they're smarting from that defeat. And I know that Harold will really have them revving up for today. So it's a real danger game for us.
Right. Well, of course, the other thing that we've got to talk about is Fred Cook going for that 100 goals. A lot of pressure on Freddie, and in fact, a lot of pressure on the team.
Well, I just mentioned to the players before that I don't consider that should come into it at all. If Freddie gets them today, well and good, but I don't think that we should be worried about that. I said he's definitely going to make it at some stage, but whether he gets it today, next week, or in 2 weeks' time, I don't care, and I don't want the players to worry about that.
Okay, Gary, well, as I've said before, you're one of the coaches who really cooperates. We know we'll be speaking to you during the game, and we do hope that we'll be speaking to you after the game as well to present the trophies.
All right, Rob.
Thanks very much, Gary. Well, that's the latest from the Port Melbourne room. Quietly confident, I think, could be best described the atmosphere in here today. Very shortly, we'll move across to the Preston rooms and speak to Harold Martin.
Well, it'll be very interesting to hear from.
Yes, Rob, yeah, another little girl born last Tuesday. Yeah.
Right, no boys yet.
Oh, no, got to go give the umpires a bit of a go rule. I reckon if I have a boy in 20 years' time, they could cause a bit of trouble, the umpires.
Okay, well, congratulations to you and your wife. I think it's just fantastic, and that goes from everyone at 10 because, you know, you are part of our team out there.
Thanks, Rob.
Harold, we're going to have to hit you right between the eyes because your form this year, Preston's form, hasn't been good. Yet last week you come out, the big shock defeat by knocking off Geelong West by 7 goals. Why the big reversal in form?
Well, we started well early in the year, Rob. We were very intensive pre-season training with Ray Giles, and we seemed to taper off a little bit. We lost a lot of confidence, and we've had injuries. Every club has injuries. I can't blame that, but certainly our confidence went down. Our running players were out of form for a while, and last week was, I think, Coburg embarrassed us so much at Coburg that we played a similar type of game to Coburg, and we put it all together last week, and I'm hopeful that we do the same today.
I know you don't like singling out players, but I notice one of the players warming up at the moment in Johnny Fraser. Now, John was the big boom recruit of the year at full forward. Now you've got him out away from full forward. Why have you done this? Well,
you know, partly our fault. We weren't giving the ball to him properly when he was playing at full forward. Our field kicking was down. And we felt that we know he's got the skills, so we put him up the ground. And, well, last week he kicked 7 goals, which is a top effort.
He looks pretty keen today, too.
Well, I think he'll do well. He's got... his confidence was right back there last week. And,
righto. Well, what about Brett Cooper? I noticed before you said the boys, to your boys, urging them on, you said, righto, well, Freddie Cook's got a big day, but let's upstage him with a good performance from Brett.
Well, Brett was playing the centre early in the year, and we've had trouble at full forward. Even though he only kicked 4 goals last week, he contributed a lot of others, and he's probably our best contester, and we haven't had a fellow like that in front of goals, and I think you'll find he'll do just as well or better than what Fred will today.
Well, Harold, you can't make the 5 now. It'd take a miracle to make the 5. What incentive is there in the game for Preston today?
Well, we've had a lot of knockers and you know, a lot of knives in the back, which every coach gets when you're losing, and so have our players, and we've been embarrassed by our efforts, and I think we had 2 bad losses to Camberwell and Coburg. We hit back and beat the second side last week. Well, today that we're playing the new second team, and we hope to dislodge them from their position, and that is our incentive, I think, to overcome a lot of the knockers and show that Preston is a far better side than what they've shown this year.
Well, the beaut thing about today's game is that in the coaches, the key personalities, Gary Bryce and yourself, we have two captain and coaches who really do cooperate with us and make yourselves available, so our viewers can look forward to a terrific day's football, I think.
I think they will, yeah. I think that's part of the game, you know, letting everyone know what VFA football's about. And I know Gary, you know, is the same as what I am, and doesn't, you know, affect us at all, really.
You'd like to beat him, though, wouldn't you?
Of course, oh, yeah, my word.
OK, thanks very much, Harold. We'll let you go and rev the boys along. Well, that's just about it from the Preston rooms. I would like to say to our viewers at home, if you'd like to come down here at Preston, they have excellent facilities for watching football, probably one of the best setups, and we've had a good look round today in the social club and around the ground, the grandstands. Superb facilities down here at Preston, so if you'd like to come down and enjoy a great game's football, you're very welcome. Well, now we'll go back to the main commentary position, Phil Gibbs, but very shortly we'll have the toss of the coin.
OK, Rob, and there we have one of the heats of the Dandy Dollar Dash concluding, but you'll see the main features of these races at half-time in our telecast today. But right now we'll take on the field umpire for today as umpire Peter Snooks, 8 years with the VFA. The boundary umpires, John Culhane, 10, and Malcolm Owen, his first year with the VFA. The goal umpires, Adrian Crawley, 8 years, and Bruce Bartlett, 5. The emergency umpire is Neil Tallentire, 8 years with the VFA, and the umpire's board representative today is young Stan Winter, who's been with the VFA for not very long, only 37 years. So Stan is the board representative, but Peter Snooks moving around in the A&A jacket out there. And here comes the Port Melbourne side onto the ground, and they're led by their captain and coach, Gary Bryce. I'll tell you what, they're fully aware that they've only won twice here in the last 12 years, I think it is. So they have this big game ahead of them today. And here's Preston, and their captain and coach is Harold Martin. Both teams have their coach playing here today, and Harold Martin also very keen to knock off the Port Melbourne side. It's always been a traditional game against these two teams, particularly in the last few years. Although, I suppose, in a way, it's a shame to see Preston so far down the ladder. They're a top-class side. They have a big following out here, Ted.
They have a great following out at the Preston area, and they have for many years. And you mentioned the Preston-Port Melbourne clash. It is traditional, Phil, and I know a lot of the older viewers that couldn't get to the game today will remember the pre-war clashes between these two sides, and I think it goes back to about 1937-38, the big one at the Preston ground here between Port and Preston, and I think a lot of people still remember that game in the Preston area.
Right, we're just waiting on the captains to pull up, and then Rob Asprey will be, as usual, conducting the toss of the coin, and probably he'll have a word with Peter Snooks out there, the field umpire for today. Peter Snooks, of course, has been umpiring for 8 years in the VFA. There's Preston doing their preliminary circuit, and Port Melbourne, of course, following them up around their circuit of the ground here today. But it won't be long before this match gets underway. It's due to start at 10 minutes past 2, and they're right on the ball today. To the left of the screen, that's the Kramer Street end of the ground, or the northern end. That's the end. I don't think, I was going to say that the breeze would be away from, but I don't think the breeze is particularly favouring any end. If anything, it's probably favouring the Bruce Street end, which is to the right of the screen, the southern end of the ground here. Well, now Port Melbourne coming across in front of the main stand. The crowd built up right along the front of the main stand here. And Rob Asper is ready for us now, so it's down to you, Rob.
The copper what? Right. We are on. OK, a bit of a technical problem this afternoon in communicating, but not to worry, we will battle on. Peter Snooks, congratulations on your first television game.
Thanks, Rob.
How's the condition of the ground? You've had a good feel of it?
Yeah, excellent. It's probably one of the best conditioned ground I've seen for a long time, you know. There's not much mud at all around. Very hard in the centre. A bit soft around the flanks, but apart from that, it should be an excellent
Right.
condition.
What about a wind advantage?
There's hardly any. It's blowing mainly straight across the ground.
OK. Well, the visiting captain will do the... there's the 20-cent coin. Have you got a coin? You've got one already. Oh, well, we won't lose our 20-cent coin. So the umpire is Peter Snooks, and he's calling the two captains, Harold Martin And Gary Bryce over. Harold's coming over now. Of course, the visiting captain and coach and Gary Bryce will do the call. A lot of kids around today. There's the toss. Heads is called, and tails it is. So Preston have won the toss, and they're kicking to the Kramer Street end or the northern end, which incidentally isn't really favoured by the breeze. It's coming right across the ground. Back to Phil for the action.
OK, right, Rob, and Vic Anderson is one of the stars of any match we telecast these days with Port Melbourne participating. So let's hear Vic Anderson talking about today's game. Stand up, Vic. Righto, well, Vic has decided not to talk. He's going to wait until he does stand up out there, and then he'll tell us what he feels about today's game out here. He's been plagued by injuries in the last couple of seasons, unfortunately. And he's now moving across towards the centre. And, of course, the other player we will be talking to today is Brian Preece of Preston. He plays in the back pocket. So we'll take you over now to hear what Brian has to say about today's game.
Well, with his 100th game last week, and we must say congratulations to Brian Preece for that, I guess we could call you one of the veterans of the side. Brian, how important is it to knock off Port today?
That's very important for us, mainly for our spectators who have been following us all the way through the year. We've given them a pretty bad showing lately, and last week's game, we've always had it here, but we haven't put it together. Last week's game really showed what we are made of, but if we can do the same this week, it'll really take the pressure off a few players and also put a bit of faith back in the club.
Right, well, thanks for speaking to us, and congratulations on 101 today.
Thanks very much, Rob. Bye.
101 today for Brian Preece, and unfortunately we won't be hearing from Vic Anderson at this stage, but no doubt Rob Asprey will try and get a few words with him throughout the day. Right, we're just waiting on umpire Peter Snooks to come in for the bounce of the ball here. Players have taken up their position. Both sides very toey at the moment. One interesting player here today is Kavanagh, the interchange player. It'll be interesting to see how he goes when he comes on the ground. Fred Cook was telling me he's out of the blocks like a stall gift runner, and he's got a lot of potential. Little fellow, rover, so it'll be interesting to see him if he gets on the ground. Well, there we go with the bounce. And it's coming up wide of the pack. Marks gains possession for Preston, streaks downfield, gets one around the neck, but the umpire calls play on as he saw Marks was in reasonable position. Comes up towards the half-forward line, but it was Bryce coming in, giving his opponent a bit of a shove to take the mark. He's played it straight back into the centre of the ground, players over the top of one another, but it comes down to Marshall. Marshall couldn't break away with the ball, taken away by Goss of Port Melbourne. He sends it up towards that centre-forward zone. Oh, Cook behind the pack, turns around, shoots for goal and bowls along the ground and hits the post. It could have been his 94th for the day. A little bit nonchalant on the part of Cook then. He had plenty of time. He was in front of the whole pack, and I felt that he could have taken his time, Ted.
Well, he could have taken his time then, but I don't think Fred could believe his eyes when he saw that ball coming to him without any opposition.
All right, Allender now going for the hand pass, gets it down, taken away here by Swan up towards the forward zone, and that was a good mark in the middle of the pack, and it was taken by Vic Anderson. So Vic Anderson's only about 30 metres out from goal, directly in front, kicking towards the southern end. Cook dragging himself up off the ground down there, limping a bit too as he moves away. I think that could be because of the missed goal, but there goes the kick on its way, and it's only the 1 point again. So we have 2 points on the board for Port Melbourne, and Preston have yet to score. So now we're just waiting on Towan of Preston to take the kick off, playing it out here towards the half-back line. Moving in is Cosma of the Preston side, forced down to the ground. Coming around at the moment is Evans, but it's gone over the line, and there will be a throw-in affected on Port Melbourne's half-forward line. All right, we're just waiting on this throw-in. And it's Martin gaining possession. Martin goes for the pass, but it comes back here towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson straight down towards centre forward, but Cowan comes out to take the mark, and Cook is limping pretty badly down there at the moment. It comes to Marshall. Marshall with a hand pass. Back it comes to Marshall, and Marshall from McEwen sends it up towards the half-forward line. It's Johnson bearing down on the ball for Port Melbourne now. Gets a bit of a shove, but forces it over the line. Let's have a look at Fred Cook down here. We've got a small problem, but we might be able to get in touch with Rob Asprey to see if he can find out what the problem is down there, to go down and have a look at it. But it comes back wide. It comes out towards Goss. Goss now tries to put it up towards the wing. Pick up by Allender. Passes back to Wilkinson. Wilkinson now gets the short pass into Swan, and Swan has taken the pass wide of the centre out on the outer wing. So Swan of Port Melbourne with his kick. Looking for O'Reilly. But it comes through towards Evans, but O'Reilly is the player to end up with it. O'Reilly can't get away. Goes for the pass back here. Taken away by Jimmy Christo. He puts it high in the air. Cook leading out all right now. And the mark has been taken in front of him by his teammate Evans, who shoots for goal, and he's put it through for full point. So that's a goal up to Port Melbourne. They go on to 1-2, and Preston have yet to score. Yes, a report now from Rob Asprey.
Well, the word from the Port Melbourne bench, Phil, is that Freddie Cook has hurt his ankle. Just how severely we don't know yet, but there's no doubt about it. The message from the Port Melbourne bench is that if he's not going to measure up, they're going to rip him off. So they're not going to muck around with Freddie. They're out again to have a look at him now. But it doesn't look too good at this stage. Back to you, Phil.
Right, Rob, I don't think it'll be the first time that Fred's been ripped off anyway. Rob, as we have the bounce of the ball, and it's Allender getting the knockout down towards Swan. Coming through them was Marks, couldn't get possession. Wilkinson hand passes out here to Dermott. Dermott up towards the half-forward line. Up they go for it, pushed wide of the pack now, and the opportunity here for Clark of Preston to play it around towards Marshall. Oh, a foolish punch there by John Fraser, but it goes to Dermott. Dermott gets Port out of trouble to Wilkinson. Wilkinson up towards the half-forward line. Little Abaya staying behind them, dribbles the kick up towards the centre half-forward zone, but Priest swings the play up towards Marshall. He can go on with it here. And Marshall now towards that half-forward line. Fraser came into it. Fraser looks a bit slow, but gets the kick in and puts it out of bounds on the full. Looks a bit slow, this fellow, Ted.
Well, he's not actually slow, Phil, but he was very hasty in getting his boot to the ball. He could have passed that one quite easily to a couple of teammates there, one running pass.
May not be slow, but he's looked a bit slow on the last two occasions when he's approached the ball. Well, there's one player warming up for Port Melbourne. That's Kavanagh. He could be coming on to replace Cook, who's still limping down there in the forward zone. But here now we have Hall with his kick towards the half-back line for Port Melbourne on the stand side of the ground. The umpire said that Martin was interfered with. It was shepherding, and Martin will get the free kick. So Martin now from the half-forward line has the chance for, I don't think he'll score, but to put it right up on that forward zone. A wobbly punt, spiral punt. And it's pushed away from Cooper, and it's over the line in the forward zone for Preston. Bill.
Forward pocket, scoreboard, Port Melbourne 1-2, Preston yet to score on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard. Bat out of the pack, can't get rid of it, goes to Christo. That's John Christo in trouble. Bryce, the captain, comes in to force it over to Wilkinson. Wilkinson still in the back pocket, getting the ball up towards Allender at half-back flank. Preston in the better position. Allender knocking away to the line, throw in from the boundary umpire. 5 minutes into the term. Port Melbourne 1-2-8, Preston yet to score. Olympic Tyres scoreboard. Boundary umpire does the work. Martin, Allender, Martin successful. Hand pass long into open territory, a chance for Port. Couldn't do it through Hall. McEwen onto the left foot, up towards full forward. Back the big one, away from him. Bryce going towards goal, the Port Melbourne captain. Cleverly knocked away by Jessup. And a throw in as the result, as you can see. Cook still in trouble down there in the forward pocket. They might, as Rob Asprey suggests, rip him off, but Frederick is a bit loath to leave. It's in the forward pocket, and Preston won it again. It was Fraser, but Wilkinson took it under control, getting it towards the centre wing. Martin alone there. Awkward bounce for him, off the ground to Allender. Allender flipping the hand pass out unsuccessfully. O'Reilly coming in, back to Martin. Strong play there. And Goss has got to put in for Port Melbourne. Free kick against him. Probably a little technical, but the free kick is going to go to Can. Can at half-forward flank. Grandstand side, kicking to the northern end. Left of your screen, up towards full forward, and it might be against Port Melbourne. Against Hall, and it will go to Fraser. And that free kick came up at the 6.5-minute mark in the first term. And Fraser's to kick to the northern end. 15 metres out. Moving in now, on its way. Looks good from here, 1 goal to Preston. Player in possession there, about to put it down. Does it well, even contest. Martin again out of the centre, and McEwing from the centre of the ground up towards Cooper. Thumping away O'Neill, but Preston in control through Jessup. Jessup's hand pass to Bat is astray. A little bit of trouble on the Port Melbourne back line. The free kick goes to Port. Across to Bryce, and Bryce will come out from the back pocket to boot the ball up towards the centre half back position for Port Melbourne. Marshall a chance here to go towards goal, does so with a long kick, and the only play there is Johnson, and you saw what he did, he marked. Port Melbourne defending. They're 1-2, Preston a goal on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard. 7 minutes have been played into the first term as Johnson kicks out to the outer side of the ground, and once again the free kick to Preston, this time to Can, who's at half forward flank. Preston into attack. Should get pretty close up towards goal. It's about 15 metres out. Cooper was high, as you saw, down to the ground to Christo. That's John Christo, flipping it out to Wilkinson. Wilkinson will take it away hurriedly. A chance here for Can. Knocked down to the ground. Marks in there, and he will get the free kick. The distance wouldn't be beyond him, I wouldn't think. 35 to 40 metres out, a bit of a chance. Kicking to the northern end, Preston a goal, and Port 1-2. Marks.
Preston 6 free kicks, Port Melbourne 1.
Standing to mark. And it's a good kick, and it's through for another goal to Preston. Centre, Anderson. Hand passing quickly to Jim Christo, driving it to the half-forward line. Wilkinson chance, so too is Allender, and he takes the big grab. Allender, half-forward flank, tending to get down towards forward pocket territory and going to the city or southern end of the Preston ground. Preston kicking accurately, have scored 2 goals, Port Melbourne 1-2. That's 12 points to 8 on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard, and the kick by Allender is offline, and the umpire signals 1 point. So it's 2 goals to Preston, Port Melbourne 1-3. Not a bad opening, Teddy Henrys.
Yes, and a very even contest, Bill. Both teams are playing very well. The Port Melbourne back line is very good. Phil.
Righto, and here's the kick-off to be taken by Towan onto the half-back line on the outer side of the ground. One-handed go there by McCulloch, but it comes close to the boundary line. Moving in here is McCulloch again. There's Wilkinson trying to get into it as well. Down he goes, and the umpire blowing the whistle indicates there will be a free to Wilkinson out on the half-forward line. There'll be a 15-metre penalty applied as Wilkinson prepares to come in for his 7th kick in the game in 10.5 minutes. He's got the pass across towards centre half forward. Marshall came in, got a push in the back, and Marshall will get the free from centre half back. These frees are adding up, Ian. What are they?
Preston 7, Port Melbourne 3.
Right now, and we have Marshall now from centre half back, wide of the centre. Up they go. Fraser went up early, but it's Jessup moving into it for Preston. Jessup with his kick swings the play across towards Cooper at centre half forward, punched away from him, goes through several players. Swan is the player backing up beautifully for Port Melbourne, puts the play out wide, but Jessup is the player dodging around opponents to send it towards centre half forward. Oh, Fraser. I wonder if we could have a look at that again. It was very, very close to the ground. Fraser might have just had his hands underneath it. As we see it now on replay, no, he's got it beautifully. He's kicked 1 goal, and he's only about 20 metres out from goal on a very, very slight angle as he comes in to try and make it Preston's 3rd in a row. It's on its way. Goal umpire ran right across. That's a goal, all right, and Preston have scored 3. Scores are reading out here. Preston 3 goals straight, and Port Melbourne 1 goal 3. As Port Melbourne put the ball up towards the forward zone through Swan, and Allender has taken the mark about 30 metres out. So Port Melbourne have the chance to get another goal on the board. They're kicking towards the Bruce Street or southern end of the ground, and it's right through the middle. No doubt about that one. That was Allender's first, and that takes Port Melbourne on to 2 goals 3, and Preston have 3 goals straight at the 12.5-minute mark into the first quarter. Well, quite an interesting game so far, Ted.
Well, it is, Phil. Game, but that was a brilliant piece of work by Port Melbourne. And from that centre pound, Swan, he dived right into that, quickly away down to Allender, and 2 kicks and a goal to Port. That was good play.
There's a message come out from the bench too to Abaya and also Jim Christo of Port Melbourne. As we have not a good bounce this time, it comes out to Yes, there's a pull around the neck to Swan. It came out towards Swan. He got the pull around the neck. The umpire blew the whistle, immediately called play on. Now Dermott has the pass. Dermott up towards that right or left forward pocket, and Allender juggling the ball. The umpire's called play on. Cook gets it, and he held his face there too, right in front of the umpire. And I think he might get the free kick out of it. Yes, Cook has got up, and he's moving back to take the kick. Only about 30 metres out from goal. He's kicked 1 point from one kick so far. He's on a 45-degree angle as he lines them up at the southern end. If he can get this, this will put Port Melbourne in front by 3 points. Preston having kicked 3 goals straight. So here's Cook putting the ball on its way. And if it gets the distance, it'll be right through, but it doesn't get the distance. Drops that bit short. And Wilkinson gains possession, screws at the goal, and he's put it through for 1 point again. So Port Melbourne are 2 goals for, and Preston have 3 goals straight at the 14-minute mark into the first quarter. Oh, gee, the crowd are quiet when Port Melbourne score down that southern end of the ground. Now it's Towan preparing to take the kick-off, and play will go out towards the outer side. Players move into it, and Jessup was the player who drifted down in that area to take the mark on the half-back line. So Jessup from this position for Preston plays it around the wing. The big fellows are there. Goes over the back of the pack towards Abaya. Abaya goes for the hand pass to Dermott. And Dermott now from the centre wing on the outer side has plenty of time to play it towards Allender, who goes up with a strong mark in front of Clark on the half-forward line. Here goes the kick. He had a corky last week, this fellow. As it goes towards Cook, he can't take the mark. Here's the chance now for Swan of Port. And it's Evans, rather, and Evans takes the shot for goal and puts it through for the minor score again. So Port Melbourne, bad kicking. They've gone up to 2 goals 5, and Preston are 3 goals straight. Towan again for the kick-off at the 15-minute mark. Bill.
Town decides to go to the outer side of the ground again, and Bryce comes up and takes the mark for Port Melbourne. He's around about centre wing to half-forward flank area, and Port going to the southern end of the ground. Bryce, a well-directed kick, looking up there for Cook. Cook doesn't lead in front there. Will be the mark to Port Melbourne. It'll be paid to young Allender. I was wondering if somebody would tell me that. But it is O'Reilly.
Right the first time, Bill. Harry?
O'Reilly is about 20 metres out from goal. 45-degree angle. And it looks as if it may be a goal.
Let us introduce you to Keith Hollingsworth.
That's out of the centre by Preston, and it's going towards a half-forward line. Abaya was in there with a chance. That might have been holding the ball, and it is. It's a good decision, that. It was against Swan of Port Melbourne, and it will go to Preston in the person of Mears at the centre wing, and he's coming up to direct the ball around the grandstand or members' side. Dermott had the front berth, couldn't clasp the ball, but he'll get the free kick for the tackle being too high, as indicated by the umpire. That's Dermott, number 25 of Port Melbourne, a good player, kicks in towards the centre of the ground. O'Reilly a chance. He was in front of his opponent, gives Goss the opportunity. Goss in trouble, and that was pretty quick, but the holding the ball is the decision, and it goes to Bat. Preston in the centre of the ground. Bat, the centre of the ground, directing the ball up towards the half-forward line. Annanson got the shove, and Annanson will take the free kick for Port Melbourne. Tempo slowed down a little bit. Port Melbourne a 3-5, Preston 3 goals. 16.5-minute mark in the first term. That's the score on the Olympic Tyre scoreboard. Annanson out to the centre wing. Allender dominating around that area in the marking department. Gets it to Goss. 5th mark to Allender. Goss up towards the centre half-forward spot. But Preston in the way once again with Bat. That further upfield to Myers. Myers onto the left foot to boot towards the half-forward line. Preston coming in the person of Fraser here in front of his opponent. Didn't make much of an attempt to get rid of the ball, and it was knocked over the line, as you saw, by Hall. So it's a throw-in on the half-forward line for Preston. Ruck work, it's Annanson and Martin struggling. Nothing conclusive, and a chance will come down here, and it'll be Can. Out of the left foot up towards centre half forward, beyond to the full forward spot. Off the hand of Bryce, a chance for Marshall into the open goal, tapped it through. 1 point only, Preston's first behind. They are 3-1-19, Port Melbourne 3-5-23 on your Olympic Tyre scoreboard, and we've played 17.5 minutes into the first term. There's the full-back, O'Neill, up towards the half-back line, and Hall will get the free kick. The reasons there being obvious. Hall at half-back flank. Port Melbourne and Preston locked in a good struggle here. Only 4 points the difference. Port leading. Hall across to Swan, or is it Evans? It's Swan. And Swan at centre half back directs it to Ibaya. Ibaya over to the centre wing position, and the little fella pulls down the mark. There's no which way to go. Getting a call from Goss, and there's a 15-metre penalty, and I rather fancy that Myers is quite happy to concede that. Ibaya up to Goss. Goss moving towards the half-forward line, onto his natural kicking foot, the left foot, and slams it up towards the half-forward flank, and the mark there is taken by Evans. Evans has kicked 1-1 in the 18 minutes which have been played thus far in the first quarter of the game here at the Preston Oval. Evans lining them up, 45-degree angle, puts it on its way, coming in pretty well. And the goal umpire seems to think that it is 6 points. Port Melbourne 4-5, Preston 3-1.
Well, Port are playing well. They've hit their straps in this last 5 or 6 minutes, Bill, and when you look at players like Wilkinson, Swan, and also Allender, they've been dominating the game so far, and they're a bit of a headache to the Preston players.
Right, well, the ball is back in the possession of field umpire Peter Snooks. So the scores are reading: Preston 3-1 and Port Melbourne 4-5. They've been playing a total of 20 minutes into the first quarter. There we go. Ruckman gets set. Oh, and Anderson went up pretty high then to get the knockout. No one can break away. There's Paul Goss getting into it. Gets a hand pass out here towards Dermott. Dermott up towards the half-forward line. Cook bumping his opponent over, but couldn't take advantage of that move. And there's a quick shot for goal by Wilkinson, but I think he's put it through for the minor score of 1 point. So that takes Port Melbourne on to 4-6. That was Wilkinson's second point, and Preston are 3-1 at the moment. Waiting on Towan to take the kick-off. Gordon Towan, the fullback, lays the outer side of the ground once again with the sun shining right across the ground, and Anderson tried to take the mark coming in from behind. Little Bayer went up, taps it down here towards Swan. Swan to Wilkinson. Wilkinson moving around here, went for the hand pass, but doesn't quite know what to do at the moment as he's got his 10th kick in, puts it high in the air looking for Allender, but there was a player pushed into it there. That was McGaw. But no one able to break away with it. There's Marks coming in, but the umpire blowing the whistle as there's a trip in the middle of the pack, and the free kick will be taken. And this time for Preston. And it's McCulloch on the half-back line for Preston, getting the kick in now towards the centre of the ground. Players move into it, up they go, and will pay the player in front. And that was taken by Peter Hall of Port Melbourne. So Hall now from wide of the centre of the ground, indicating that he wants the players to come a bit up the ground, but there goes the kick, not a good one. He grubbed that one slightly, and it'll be the mark taken on the back line by McCulloch again. He gets it towards that centre half-forward position, and moving in here is Christo. John Christo gets the pass out. It goes to Dermott. Dermott to Paul Goss, who's roving reasonably well today. He sends it towards that centre-forward zone. Players lunging at the ball, but Towan coming up to relieve the pressure, runs right up the ground, bangs it in towards the centre, and the mark has been taken by Murray Batt. He passes to Marks. Marks was a weak in getting away with that, and Ted...
Lucky. Oh, how lucky. That was holding the ball without any doubt, Phil.
And he's his son-in-law. So you can tell how red-hot that was when Ted comes at it. OK, it's wide of the centre. And we have Marks now getting his kick in up towards centre half forward. Fraser moving across, and I still reckon he's slow as it comes through in the direction of Peter Hall. Holding the ball, says the umpire, and the free kick will be taken by Cooper. The full forward, it's his first kick for the match. He's within scoring range if he shows any accuracy at all. As he lines them up now at the northern end of the ground. There it goes on its way, and the umpire staying in the middle. It's a goal up to Preston. They go to 4-1. Righto, and on the bounce of the ball, Batt is trying to take it away from the centre. He puts it high in the air up towards the half-forward line, and Dermott, who's a stalwart in defence always for Port Melbourne, comes in to take the mark with his 6th kick, plays it to Swan, who took it a little bit nonchalantly. We see Goss gaining possession. He goes for the pass towards the half-forward line, looking for Abaya, and Abaya has taken the mark. Abaya from the half-forward line kicks it in towards the pocket, and the mark taken down here by Brian Priest. Good bit of play on the part of Priest. He's running in the same direction as the ball. He plays it up here. And McEwen took it easily, but he's recovered quickly enough to take in the ball. Gets it out to Jessup on the wing, and Jessup taking the mark. Now, Jessup has the chance to get it further up on the forward line. He's looking for teammate Fraser, who went very close to the boundary line, and yes, he's been given the mark. But by gee, he must have been close to it. He swings the play across here. Wilkinson waits under the ball. Marks is there, and Cooper is also in there. And Cooper has taken the mark for Preston at the true centre half-forward position within scoring range. He's kicked the 1 goal so far with his only kick in the match. He's got the chance for his 2nd goal with his 2nd kick. It's on its way. It won't get the distance. It'll drop that fraction short and be forced through for 1 point. So Preston are 4-2-26 with Port Melbourne on 4-6, a total of 30. 24 and a half in. And the full-back for Port Melbourne, Frank Johnson. He gets it out here towards Wilkinson. Wilkinson further around the flank position with Swan in a lot of the play today. Gaining possession, he sends it up towards that half-forward line. There'll be a free kick Preston's way, and it will be taken by Daryl McGaw. 15-metre penalty being applied. I think this umpire's doing a pretty good job so far too, Ted.
Well, all except one decision he gave, but he's doing a good job, Phil, I must agree.
Well, they can't be 100% right, can they? No one can. And the mark taken then by Terry O'Neill as we take you over to Bill Jacobs.
I think he's a pretty easy umpire to read. If they watch him, they'll see what he's doing. It's down to the centre of the ground. Ibaya going through quickly through centre half forward, up long towards Cook. Port Melbourne want Cook to put in a little bit, and he's not putting in very much at the moment, but he's kicked that one off the ground. And there's a free kick before the goal umpire signals. Waiting on the field umpire signal, and the free kick goes to Town. Up there in the last line of defence, Cook not watching his man, sees Town go away out to the half-forward line, or half-back line for Preston, back in towards the centre of the ground from Cann, up towards the centre wing position now. Martin in control of the ball, dummies well, hand pass to McEwen. McEwen coming up through the centre to boot towards the centre half-forward spot. At the back, Cooper, front man's mark. Front man, that will be O'Neill. And O'Neill repulses that attack at centre half-back for Port Melbourne. 4-6 Port, Preston 4-2. That's on the Olympic Tyres scoreboard, and we've just come up towards the time-on period. O'Neill gave it quickly to Johnson. Johnson out to centre wing on the outer side. It was too far for Jim Christo, allowing Marshall in. Can't control it, gives Christo back into the game, out towards Ibaya, but Preston swoop on the ball through McCulloch. McCulloch to Marshall is good football, likewise back again, and Martin kicks towards the centre half-forward spot, but Dermott, reliable as ever, and probably as good as anyone on the ground, has taken his mark and 7th kick. Dermott out to the centre wing again. It tends to get towards the half-back flank. Christo, that is Jim Christo, in towards the centre of the ground. A chance for Johnston. Kick rather hurriedly, and it's going up to Wilkinson, who takes yet another mark. Hand passes to Swan. Port into attack. Any lead up there? Yes, from O'Reilly. Marks. Caught. Holding the ball. Hesitated for just a fraction of a moment, and Priest was strong with the tackle there. Priest gets it over to Town. Town coming up towards centre wing. He gets a hand pass very quickly there to Clark. Clark to Fraser, and Fraser's marked. Fraser's well out. He's on the centre wing. On the grandstand side of the ground and kicking to the left of your screen. And up that end, that is the northern end. Fraser now. Cooper. Against Cooper, yes. Free kick to O'Neill. 26.5-minute mark, Port. Going out of the back line through O'Neill. At the back high was O'Reilly. It's down to Evans. Evans looking for a lead up. He's looking for Wilkinson. He's given him the kick, or given him a chance to run into the open territory there, but it'll be taken away for Preston by McGaw. And that's good football. Not good football when the kick is smothered, allowing Goss to come in for Port Melbourne. Centre half forward, and there's the mark taken there by Swan. Port quickly into attack again. That's good football, Evans. Pretty good ball handler, Evans. And he's on half forward flank and is going to kick long. He's got a lead in from Wilkinson. Plays to it. Wilkinson in front will get the free kick if nothing else. And there it is. Sandringham leading Caulfield in their game. There's Wilkinson, number 15 of Port Melbourne. He's kicked 2 points. And it's Port Melbourne 4-6 to 4-2, and Wilkinson's 12th kick. Been a pretty useful player in this first quarter. Lining them up, there's the angle, and the goal umpire's going to signal in the affirmative, I think. It's another goal. Port Melbourne 5-6, Preston 4-2, Olympic Tyres scoreboard. And we've played 3.5 minutes into time on. Out of the centre, and a free kick will go to Port Melbourne to Allender. Been doing well.